guys, welcome back to Relatable Nerds. Kyra here, and today we are going to be diving right into episode 6 of Daredevil Born Again. So much has happened, and so much is just starting to happen and take place. Episode 5 was kind of its own standalone episode where Matt Murdock was dealing with a bank heist situation. We got a very fun cameo from Yusuf Khan, Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel's father. You guys should definitely go check out my episode 5 breakdown. I joined forces with Marvel Cinematic Universe News and Nick the Drawer for that episode, so you guys should definitely check it out. It was so much fun to get into all of our theories and the future of Marvel with that one. So now with episode 6, we are kind of back on the storyline for this season. This episode opens with the BB report, opens with some graffiti artists kind of talking about their art. There's definitely a focus in this, and this is a foreshadowing of a villain we are going to see a lot finally in this episode, Muse. We've touched base on him at a couple points throughout this season. We got to see his very weird and unsettling lair under the train tracks at the end of episode 4. This guy is a graffiti artist, but the way he gets his paint for his art is he murders people and drains them of their blood for his graffiti art. It's pretty gruesome. It's very unsettling. And if you have any issues with blood, there is a trigger warning right now, because we are definitely going to discuss some of that. I myself am a little queasy around blood. Muse does hate Kingpin, so at least he has that going for him. We see Matt on his bed kind of praying and talking to Foggy in a way, holding his prayer card from his funeral. And we see that Dr. Heather Glenn walks up on him and she's like, wow, you still pray? Oh my goodness. She just opens a discussion with him about how he's feeling. She is not really a therapist in their relationship, but sometimes it feels like she can be when she's approaching his emotions, which is really, really kind, because obviously Matt has been through so much. And there was a really funny moment where Heather talks about the future of her career and her next book, and she reveals that it is going to be about vigilantes. Yeah, you could hear a pin drop at that point. Matt was like, is she catching on to me? Why would she be writing about vigilantes? She even ends up bringing up Daredevil to him. They both kind of discuss their clients, and it's so ironic because little does Matt know that she is Wilson and Vanessa Fisk's therapist right now. So there is just a lot of irony going on and so many connections already. It's like when this news breaks to Matt and when they both realize things about each other, it is shit's gonna hit the fan. We see that Kingpin gets a visit from Luca at his office. This is not a good look. A mayor should not be getting a visit from a crime boss, crime lord. Some of his staff is definitely raising their eyebrows at him. They're starting to become even more aware of the type of person this guy is. Why would Luca be visiting Kingpin at work? That was a really bold move by Luca, and Kingpin is not happy with it, so he doubles the ransom that he owes him. He's like, let's make it $2.8 million now, because you have to pay a tax because you're late and because of this BS you just pulled by walking into my office. It's not a good look for Wilson. People in the city, his staff, everybody is starting to catch on to his dirty work. It's almost like a time bomb right now. Like you can feel Wilson's rage building and building and building. And I think by the end of this episode, we are definitely we're gonna see something happen. We see Angela visit Matt at his office. She brings up that she's found that Hector was onto something in the city. He was trying to find the person who is killing all of these people from all of the people going missing, which is Muse. And Angela is piecing two and two together, and she goes to Matt for help. She's like, let's do something about this. And Matt is like, just let the police handle it. You're too young to get involved in this. And of course, Angela's like, why would I let the police handle this when they killed my uncle in the first place? And she has a point. She has every right now to not trust the police. Nobody should trust these corrupt police officers. But she kind of gets frustrated with Matt and she just leaves. And somebody from the city ends up coming forward, Wilson and his staff. He was trying to wash off the murals that have been everywhere. That's human blood in the paint. So he makes them all aware of that. They're like, oh, okay, this is a lot worse than what we thought. They're not just some hate murals against the mayor. They are actual murder victims' blood. So this just makes it even more intense. Vanessa and Wilson attend a gala, and they start talking to a lot of the wealthy elites of New York and asking them for money for his different projects, his developments, and whatnot. And Vanessa is just like, you got to do what you got to do. we got to work this gala as best as we can. We end up seeing another cameo from a character that we previously saw in the Hawkeye series, The Swordsman. And I don't know if you guys watched Hawkeye or if you remember what happened with him in Hawkeye, but he was Kate Bishop's stepfather, and we thought he was a bad guy most of the series, but he ends up being one of the good ones. He's extremely talented with all of his swords, hence why they call him the Swordsman. And he could actually be running around the city right now as a vigilante, and we don't even know it. I love that we're getting all of these allusions, though, to the Young Avengers, to people that are in New York at this time. I feel like we are building up to something great. It was really, really cool to see him. We then visit Cherry and Matt, and Cherry sits down and tells Matt, like, look, there is a serial killer on the loose named Muse, but dude, like, this is really bad. You just got to sit this one out and let the police take control of it. That is probably the worst thing you could tell Matt Murdock, especially when he's on the brink of putting back his Daredevil suit on. Because of all of this going on, Wilson decides to make an anti-vigilante task force. Yes, you heard me correctly. An anti-vigilante task force. We already know Wilson has this agenda of trying to put away all of the vigilantes, and he goes to all of the corrupt NYPD cops and he uses all of their bad trauma and the things that happened to them in their past experiences with being a cop. He uses that trauma and motivates them and hypes them up to go take care of all of these vigilantes. It's quite the disgusting scene. He even says that they're going to have special privileges. They're going to work overtime. They're going to be around the clock. They're not going to have body cameras. Yeah. Major red flag there. That's how you know they're just pretty much going to kill anybody that gets in their way or kill anybody that Wilson tells them to kill. He basically gives them a bunch of guns and he's like, have at it, boys. Go find Muse. We then jump to a scene with Matt in the middle of the night where Soledad Alaya calls him Hector's wife. She's like, Angela did not come home tonight. This is really unlike her. I'm really, really worried. Can you help me find her? And Matt's like, don't worry, I got this. He picks up the phone, calls 911. They answer, but he doesn't say anything. It was at this moment where he's like, F this. Like, I gotta take matters into my own hands now. He goes and puts his Daredevil suit on and he makes this epic jump off of the rooftop. I swear it was like, oh, as a viewer, you were like, finally, let's go. It's time to take care of business. He is not going to hold back anymore. He's sick of the corruption. He's sick of the cops not helping people. And he is not about to let something happen to Angela, just like it happened to Hector. We then jump to Kingpin in this scene where he's just like stomping down the stairs and it's dark, but there's a light on him as he's stomping down. And then the camera pans to Adam, his prisoner, who was the person that Vanessa had an affair with when he was gone. And he just goes to this guy's cell and he throws him an axe. You know, to the average person, that would be like, okay, this guy is going to kill me. But with Kingpin, that's like, this is just going to motivate me to even beat the crap out of him even more. And we know Wilson has been waiting for this moment. I mean, I'm shocked he let Adam live this long because Vanessa is his prize, the apple of his eye. That affair absolutely destroyed him. It's one of the main reasons why they are in therapy with Heather Glenn right now. Even though he's telling Vanessa that he's okay and he's moved on with it, it's definitely still bothering him. Once Adam picks up the axe, he swings at him, but Kingpin literally just gets him, and Kingpin just starts beating the crap out of Adam. We then pan to Angela, who is trying to find Muse's lair in his hideout, which is below ground where the trains run, and she ends up walking through there alone. It's very, very creepy. Muse finds her. He takes her. He brings her back to the lair and he starts pumping her blood. It's so unsettling and it's so dark. And again, for a Marvel show, the content material is incredibly dark. It's very horrifying to watch this happen to her. Thankfully, Daredevil is right around the corner and he finds Muse in his lair and they start fighting, and it's a great battle scene, and they're fighting each other, and then we pan over to Wilson Fisk and Adam. It's not even fair to Adam what Wilson is doing to him right now. You can see with each punch, his rage is just building and building and building. He just lets Adam have it. We pan back to Daredevil and Muse. Daredevil finally has Muse in like this in this chokehold. He's wrapped in this wire, but then he hears Angela's heart slowing down because he didn't realize that Muse was pumping her blood. He ends up going and standing over her, says this prayer, and she ends up like surviving. She like wakes up even though she's incredibly pale and has been drained of a lot of blood. While he is doing all of that, Muse escapes. So Muse is back on the run again, and that is how the episode ends. From Wilson Fisk creating his anti-vigilante task force of corrupt police officers to Daredevil finding Muse's lair, and now everybody being aware of Muse and the serial killer on the loose in New York, Matt is not going to be able to handle this all alone. I fear that he's going to have to call up some of his friends, maybe Jessica Jones, maybe the Punisher, Frank Castle, I don't know, Luke Cage. There's so many possibilities. Spider-Man could just whisk through the air right now and land there and help Matt. I mean, we now have ties to Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, and Kate Bishop in the mix from seeing the swordsman in this episode and seeing Kamala's father, Yusuf Khan, in episode 5. Wilson has obviously reached the point of no return. He is ready to be violent again. He is starting to lose track of even caring about being the mayor. He's sick of the parties. He's sick of going to all these events. And Matt has finally stepped into the Daredevil suit. So this is the point of no return for everybody. They have to resort to their own ways for anybody to come out of this alive. And I am so anxious about where this season is going to go. There is so much happening, but it's so exciting, so thrilling, and so violent. I'm just such a fan of this show. Again, I can't say enough how happy I am that they brought this back. Thank you guys if you've been tuning in to all of my breakdowns, especially some new subscribers this past week who watched my episode 4 breakdown of Frank Castle, the Punisher, returning to Daredevil. It has been such a blast breaking down all of these episodes. I hope you guys have been enjoying it as much as I have, and I can't wait to break down the rest of the season. Make sure to let me know in the comments what you thought of this week's 2 episodes. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.